and just, you know, he actually let the kids do it. And we took 3 shots. Finally, it didn't work. Finally, he did it. And anyway, this poor dairy cow just collapsed, and urine and feces came gushing out, and he jumped across her with his long knife, and he went, whoom, cut off her head, and the blood went as high as the ceiling. And her heart was just beating, you know, just pumping it out. And then he wiped his brow, very matter of fact, and he said, you've got to do that, you've got to cut those arteries immediately, otherwise the flesh will be soggy and blood-soaked and useless. No one will ever eat it. And so, you know, I've been a vegan now over 30 years. I've done a lot of research. I've been to slaughterhouses, factory farms, stockyards, other places. I've seen what goes on. And basically, I've realized that the reason that animals suffer so much in being killed in slaughterhouses is because we don't want soggy meat. You know, you could never just kill an animal somehow. You know, shoot an animal with a gun or something, come to let him die, come back a little later, cut him up, eat him. That would, no, soggy, nobody wants it. The heart has to actively pump the blood out of the flesh. So that's why they're basically always, whether they're cows or pigs or chickens or whatever they are, they're hanging upside down by 1 leg or 2 legs, and their arteries are cut and they die by bleeding to death, which is probably the worst possible death. And so again, when we see the flesh of animals, we don't know the terrible pain and suffering that they went through. But that's standard procedure for billions of animals. And so I saw all that as a kid, and I saw how much they did not want to be killed. The following year, this one cow just actually did it again. This cow broke the chain. We were trying to pull her to a place, and she broke the chain we had tied to her with a 4-wheel drive pickup truck. She snapped this metal chain. And I think that's something we have to, again, remember, that animals are like us. Their life to them is precious. They do not want to die. Their babies to them are precious. But on any dairy, organic or not, their babies are always stolen. Their milk is always stolen. Their lives are stolen. Their purpose is stolen. Everything is stolen. They have no integrity. Their sovereignty is stolen. And they are reduced to being mere machines for our profit and for our use. And this is this essential situation, and for me, I could never question it. It was so deeply ingrained. I went away to college. I remember hearing that it was Colby College back in the early 70s in Maine. I remember hearing there were some vegetarians on campus, but I thought, well, that's interesting. I never met one of them, but I heard they were sort of out there somewhere. But after college was over, I decided to go on a spiritual pilgrimage, and I left, my brother, we left home, we lived in Acton, actually, right near Concord. And I remember we walked down the driveway, we had backpacks on, we were going to head to California and try to find cosmic consciousness. This was in 1975. Things were happening in San Francisco and Berkeley. And we got as far as Buffalo. After we walked a long way. Anyway, in Buffalo, we decided to head south. It was October, it was getting cold. So we ended up walking for many months and finally ended up, by the end of the year, at a community called The Farm. Have you heard of The Farm, anyone? Some of you have heard of it, probably. The Farm in 1975 was the largest hippie commune in the world. Actually, when I think about it, it was the largest vegan community in the world as well. They didn't call themselves vegans. No one heard of the word vegan in 1975. It was not a word then. I mean, it was, but nobody heard of it. And so they called themselves vegetarians, but they didn't eat meat or dairy products or eggs. And there they were, 900 people, and they were not keeling over and dying